going to take a look at a Shrade knife today, very budget-friendly knife. This is the SCHF14. I need to come up with an easier sounding name for this blade, but let's take a look at it. We're going to call this the Shrade 14 for short here. But this blade is a hollow grind blade. It's got an unsharpened swedge up top. It makes for a fairly nice pointed tip, and makes it for a very robust tip, if I can get that in camera. So that works pretty well there. Again, hollow ground blade, SCHF14 MOV. Now I've done a lot of processing with this, just playing around with this at home, doing cardboard, doing a lot of other things. Here's some of my thoughts after my cardboard cutting that I did at home. A lot of this cardboard cutting that I'm doing, I'm actually going cross grain as much as I am going with the grain. Going cross grain is going to put a little more work on your blade. And if I didn't know this was SCHF14 MOV steel, my guess is that it wouldn't be, because the edge is holding up a lot better than I anticipated. I'm guessing maybe a result of the heat treat that they've done on it. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it for HCR. Length on this blade is about 3.3 inches, so it is going to be a little bit of a shorter blade. Overall, again guys, being the SCHF14 MOV, it's easy steel to sharpen. Being that it's hollow grind, this takes a really wicked edge, and it holds up relatively well. Now, SCHF14 MOV is a budget-friendly steel, so it's not going to hold an edge as well as your higher end blades, of course, but for the price, I do like the steel quite a bit. Plunge line, you can see right here, they've actually done a pretty good job of making sure that the blade isn't fatter down there at that plunge line area. That will often happen. So for a knife at this price point, not too bad. Now I could have worked some of that out of there through the sharpenings that I've done on this, but if memory serves correct, there wasn't a lot of that, so they did a pretty good job there. We get a nice draw point blade there. Nice sweeping belly. So classic drop point blade, guys. It works great. It's a great design, and it functions well out here in the bush, or as kind of an EDC type of blade, or something that you just might have around the house to use. Let's move on back to the handle scales. You can see these are a G10, and they have this pattern on them which looks kind of rough and aggressive. You know, might not be ergonomically friendly, but to be honest with you, I haven't noticed a problem at all, with exception of this point right down here. It's going to be these points. That one and this one, I notice, will dig into the palm of my hand when I'm working with the blade. So when I'm holding it like this and I've got it in the palm of my hand, you can see this piece, how it rolls on over. You see where it sits in my palm. Now some guys, maybe you don't have a problem with this, maybe you do, depending on the size of your hand, but for me it definitely digs in there. Not a big deal, and here's why: because what I'm going to eventually do, take a Dremel or some sandpaper, whatever you have, knock that edge down. Other than that, I haven't really noticed anything about the scales themselves per se. I have noticed that up top, this is kind of an abrupt angle right here. It is kind of thin, so when doing a lot of work like this, I do feel that digging into my hand as well. So some of the ergo issues with this blade, part of that though is just how thin the handle scales on this are. Now that might be something that you really enjoy while using out here. A lot of people prefer that over the more wide angle blades. For the price of this blade and the design, personally, I quite like it because of the price point. It's just so budget friendly that a lot of that stuff you just kind of have to deal with. It does have some jimping up top. Also, you can see it's a slight ramp before it goes back down to the point of the blade, but the jimping is adequate. I'd say it works okay. Again, considering the price point of this, guys, coming in at about $35 depending on where you get it from, the jimping is good. It works in part with that upsweep of the blade right there. Not too bad. Of course, you have that full tang construction of the blade. Lanyard slot, we'll call it, in the back instead of a lanyard hole. Pretty generous there. You can see the screws holding in the scale, so it is something you can take apart. However, you will need not just a normal Allen type of wrench. Most of you guys should have something like that in the garage laying around. Let's take a look at the sheath. It's it's probably a molded plastic. I don't believe this is Kydex, but the sheath works well. It retains the blade well. A little bit of rattle going on in there. Not too bad. Again, remember the price point on this. There's your belt loop system, nice and wide. That's going to fit most belts. And how I found it carries is great. You know, it holds it nice and snug up next to the body. It doesn't hang loose or anything. When you pull the blade out, you don't have any weird. I've had sheaths in the past where they just kind of fold up strange because of the construction of the belt loop and how it mates with the actual sheath housing itself. So it works well, snaps in well, good sheath. Weight on the knife is 5.6 ounces. Might be a little heavy for a knife this size, but not too bad. Great, budget friendly. Again, the ergos, some issues there, and biggest one being the points right here of the handle scales on each side of the knife handle. Not a big problem. Sandpaper, Dremel will take that right down. Little bit of ergos here, and that's just because it's a thin point right here, so when you're gripping it and you're kind of digging into something, you'll feel it, but again, not bad. So overall, guys, for $35, somewhere around there, depending on where you get it from, this is a great budget friendly knife. You know, if the looks turn you on and it's something you want with a hollow grind, yeah, you may be interested in this one. Again, I did purchase this. Shrade did not send this to me. I got this one myself, but thought I'd review a little budget friendly knife for you guys. Mix it up with some of the nicer ones you've seen on the channel. So there you have it. Something worth looking at if you're in that price point. Thanks for watching. We'll see you. What is it? I'm trying to film a knife review and you're pawing at me.